And the second session will be facilitated by Under Two Coalition. The session 2 will cover achievement of climate justice through regional leadership and global cooperation. Ms. Nemakout will give an opening remark.
Opening remarks, please welcome her with a big round of applause. 여러분, 따뜻한 박수로 환영해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
Please welcome her with a big round of applause.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. It's a real pleasure to open this session on fairness and action, achieving climate justice through local leadership and global cooperation. So I know this is the post-lunch session, but I hope we can bring some energy to the conversation with all the representatives who will be speaking as part of this session. We are here today because while the global transition to net zero must be fast, it also must be fair. And fairness or climate justice always begins locally. Why? Because it is in our states, provinces, and regions that climate impacts are most deeply felt, whether it's droughts, floods, or heat waves. It is local governments that are closest to communities and most accountable for solutions. We call them the first responders to the climate emergency. Subnational governments deliver 70% of climate action measurable in national plans. They oversee energy, land use, transport, agriculture, and infrastructure. In short, they are the front line of climate justice. But too often, subnational leadership is overlooked. Their voices are underrepresented and their access to finance and resources is limited. That is why sessions like this, discussions like this are so important, where we will explore the lived realities of local leadership and we will showcase practical solutions, including the Future Fund, which is the Under Two Coalition's tool for redistributive climate finance. The Future Fund also allows regions in advanced and industrialized economies of the global north to directly support climate action in the global south for developing and emerging economy regions, advancing justice in practice. As we go through today's discussions, I want everybody listening to reflect on three key questions. How can climate justice be anchored in local realities? How can we overcome barriers of finance capacity and inequality? And how can we scale global cooperation so that no community is left behind? With that opening, it's my great honor to introduce our opening speaker. Our opening speaker is joining us from India, straight from India, representing the Minister for Environment and Climate Change of the Government of Maharashtra, Ms. Pankaja Munde. She is unfortunately unwell, but she has appointed Mr. Ghorpade, who's the Director of the State Climate Action Cell, to proxy for her. So over to Mr. Ghorpade.
네, 판자카문데 인도 마하라 슈트라주 환경
Ms. Panjaka Munde was supposed to participate. Let us check her presence online.
Yes, may I? Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. And apologies that Honorable Minister could not join on account of ill health, but I will try and fill in her shoes today. Let me take this opportunity to express my heartfelt thanks to the organizers, the province of Chungham and Climate Group for organizing this conference and also inviting Maharashtra to join it today. I would have certainly liked to travel to South Korea and see firsthand how the Chungnam province has brought about a miraculous transformation towards net zero. However, nonetheless, it's an honor to address this august audience online. I also take this opportunity to congratulate His Excellency Governor Kim Tai-yoon for assuming the Asia Pacific chair of the Under 2 coalition. This will indeed be an opportunity for championing climate cooperation in Asia, especially at the sub-national level and also leading by example. Climate change is the greatest challenge faced by mankind in the 21st century. The year 2024 was the hottest year ever recorded in human history. The frequency and intensity of extreme climatic events such as heat waves, wildfires, sea level rise, droughts, floods, and cyclones have been rising all over the world, especially over the last few decades. India, as you know, is a signatory to all the major international conventions related to climate change. It's a founder member of the UNFCCC and a signatory to the landmark Paris Agreement. At COP26 at Glasgow, Honorable Prime Minister announced the goal of realizing net zero emissions by 2070. India aims at reducing the emission intensity of its GDP by 45% and reduce her dependence on fossil fuel consumption for electricity generation by 50% by the year 2030. It also plans to enhance the green carbon sink by 2.5 to 3 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent by the year 2030. Our state, Maharashtra, is fully committed to honor India's international commitments. Maharashtra is the second most populous state in the country and the third largest in area. But it is amongst the 5 most climate vulnerable states in India, having experienced 142 extreme climatic events last year, that is in the year 2024. The state is also home to millions of workers, farmers, fishermen, and forest-dependent communities. Maharashtra is also one of the most industrialized states in the country, contributing the highest to the national GDP at 13%. It is the largest subnational economy of the size of 480 billion US dollars, aspiring to be the country's first $1 trillion economy by 2030. But there is also the other side to the coin. Maharashtra also emits 10% to the India's greenhouse gas emissions. If you look at Maharashtra's emission trajectory, then 2/3 of emissions come from coal mines, thermal power plants, road transport, iron and steel, cement, and brick manufacturing. Therefore, keeping these sectors on priority, the government of Maharashtra plans to adopt a cross-sectoral approach to develop the decarbonization roadmap for the state. Now, how to realize a $1 trillion economy, even while fulfilling its commitment to net zero, yet maintaining social equity, is a policy challenge before the state. And the solution undoubtedly lies in adopting long-term, low-emission development strategies, something which has been incorporated in the State Action Plan on Climate Change. The state has prepared a State Action Plan on Climate Change, which lays down adaptation strategies for agriculture, water conservation, water resource development, public health, tourism, tribal development, and disaster management, as well as mitigation strategies for energy, industries, and transport sectors. While the state's priorities are aligned with the national target, as the most progressive state in the country, Maharashtra strives to attain net zero by the year 2050 itself. Maharashtra is the first state in the country to introduce the State Cooling Action Plan based on the lines of the India Cooling Action Plan announced in 2019. It contains cooling action plan for buildings as well as for agriculture. Maharashtra is the third most urbanized state in the country. While you understand the cities emit the most, about 32% of emissions from the cities come from the building sector. Therefore, we have developed the decarbonization roadmap for buildings and energy sectors for all our major cities. The roadmap includes elements such as the rooftop solarization, enhancing energy efficiency, reducing energy losses, reducing carbon footprint, use of sustainable building material, and clean cooking stoves, besides retrofitting to reduce energy consumption of buildings. Though Maharashtra is highly urbanized, the fact remains that 50% of Maharashtra's population still lives in villages and depends on agriculture for its livelihood. Nearly 78% of our farmers are small and marginal. 82% of our crop area is rain-fed. It is estimated that about 30% of fruits and vegetables are lost for want of cold storage facilities in rural areas. Therefore, the plan recommends building a chain of cold storages, particularly the solar-powered cold storages in villages. The plan also introduces a novel program called the Decentralized Renewable Energy-Based Livelihoods that uses solar power technologies such as solar HP pumps, solar dryers, milk chillers, vertical fodder grow units, and microprocessors in agriculture. This would not only increase the penetration of renewable energy, but also enhance agricultural productivity and strengthen rural livelihoods. Transport is another major emitter, and Maharashtra has launched a dedicated EV policy in 2021, which has been recently revised. It contains incentives for both manufacturers as well as consumers of electric vehicles and aims at making Maharashtra an EV hub. We are promoting EV very strategically, particularly in public transport, three-wheelers, and tempos to bridge the last mile connectivity. The target is to have 30% of electric vehicles by the year 2030. As industries transition from traditional to a non-conventional, there are chances of job losses and socio-economic disruptions for the community. The upskilling and reskilling of workers would be important for retaining jobs during transition and creating a future-ready workforce. We have therefore launched the Just Transition Roadmap for Maharashtra in February 2024. The roadmap identifies 14 districts which have the maximum concentration of high-emitting industries as well as labor as just transition hotspots. These hotspots require priority interventions to ensure just, fair, and inclusive transition. These 14 districts have been organized into 4 industrial clusters for which we are formulating the just transition plans. We are also drafting a just transition policy for the state, which aims at a well-planned and well-managed transition. It will cover social security and welfare schemes for the displaced labor, compensation to the retrenched labor to mitigate against transition shocks, and support for the informal workers, especially the old, disabled, and those from the marginal communities. माझी Vasundhara Abhiyan, or what is called the My Earth Mission, is Maharashtra's flagship program that promotes community participation in climate action towards restoring the balance of nature. It incentivizes local collective action by offering monetary awards to the local self-governing bodies, both urban as well as rural, through a structured competition related to the 5 thematic areas based on the 5 elements of nature. This initiative demonstrates the power of grassroots mobilization in addressing the climate challenge and underscores the vital role the communities play in Maharashtra's climate action. I would conclude by saying that climate change is indeed a global challenge that requires local action on a large scale. Maharashtra is committed to international platforms such as the U2 Coalition and the Race to Zero campaign, contributing as well as learning from the international best practices. While all the regions must act, their capabilities and vulnerabilities differ. And climate justice requires shared responsibility and better access to climate finance. Therefore, we welcome deeper engagement and partnerships across Asia and globally to accelerate fair, inclusive, and sustainable transition. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Director Gurpadi, and our best wishes to Minister Munde to be well very, very soon. Thank you. Great. We will now move into what we call a fireside chat to hear perspectives from leaders across Asia and Europe. So while we are being set up, I would like to invite our esteemed speakers onto stage. Joining us on stage are first Dr. Erlina, the regent of Mempawah in West Kalimantan province in Indonesia, joined by her colleague to help her translate what she will be saying in Bahasa. Let's just give it 30 seconds. Dr. Erlina, you can join us on stage now. And we have Mr. Jorn Beisert, Deputy Ambassador from the Federal Republic of Germany in Seoul, joining us on stage for this fireside chat. Thank you, Jorn. Can we give them a round of applause, please? Thank you. After this. Great. Dr. Erlina, let me begin with you first. And is somebody joining you for translation on stage? Okay. Please come. Great. Dr. Erlina, our question to you is that in Mempawah, what does climate justice mean for your local communities, and how can national and international partners, some of whom you have met here today in Chungnam, better support your leadership in delivering it in West Kalimantan?
Thank you. Terima kasih atas pertanyaannya. Izinkan saya menjawab dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Thank you for the question, and I'll answer in Bahasa Indonesia.
Saya ingin mengatakan bahwa ini merupakan hal yang penting bagi komunitas kami, khususnya di Mempawah, Kalimantan Barat.
I will say it is significant thing for our community, especially in Mempawah, West Kalimantan.
Mengenai 17 tujuan pembangunan berkelanjutan SDGs yang ditetapkan oleh Persikat PBB, kami ingin menerapkan tujuan-tujuan tersebut di Mempawah, Kalimantan Barat.
Regarding of 17 goals of Sustainable Development Goals by United Nations, we would like to apply those goals in Mempawah, West Kalimantan.
Dan kami akan mengambil satu tujuan sebagai contoh, yaitu tujuan ke-11 dan 17 SDGs yaitu kota dan komunitas berkelanjutan.
And we will take one goals, for example, which is number 11 of 17 SDGs, Sustainable Cities and Communities.
Saat ini kami sedang menjalankan program yang dibagi menjadi 4 aspek. Yang pertama adalah perlindungan terhadap yang rentan.
Currently, we are undergoing of our program that's separated by 4 aspects. First, protection for the vulnerable.
Komunitas yang bergantung pada sumber daya alam harus mendapatkan perlindungan dari dampak perubahan iklim.
Communities reliant on natural resource should be protected from the impacts of climate change.
Aspek yang kedua, distribusi manfaat dan beban yang setara. Program mitigasi dan adaptasi harus membagi manfaat dan beban secara adil.
The second, equitable distribution of benefits and burdens. Mitigation and adaptation programs must distribute benefits and burdens fairly.
Aspek yang ketiga, partisipasi komunitas dalam pengambilan keputusan. Komunitas lokal harus dilibatkan dalam merancang kebijakan dan program iklim.
Third, community participation in decision making. Local communities must be involved by designing climate policies and programs.
Dan yang terakhir adalah aspek yang keempat, pengakuan hak dan kearifan lokal, menghormati dan mengintegrasikan kearifan lokal dalam penanganan perubahan iklim.
And the last, recognition of rights and local wisdom. Respect and integrate local wisdom in addressing climate change.
Jadi sebagai kesimpulan, kami ingin melindungi tanah kami, memberikan kesempatan dengan menciptakan lapangan kerja baru, ketertiban masyarakat sipil dalam pembuatan kebijakan, dan mendukung program perubahan iklim oleh pemerintah Indonesia.
In conclusion, we would like to protect our land, giving an opportunity by making new job fields, civil engagement in policy making, and supporting climate change program by Indonesian government. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. That's helpful. And we might talk later about international partnerships and how they can help you a little bit more. Let me now turn to Deputy Ambassador Baisert. Germany has always played a leading role in shaping international climate policy and supporting climate finance. We heard about some of the initiatives in the morning address that you presented. From your perspective, Deputy Ambassador, how can national governments work more effectively with subnational actors, both domestically and internationally, to ensure that climate justice is embedded in implementation, particularly in regions with structural or economic inequalities? How has Germany done this already?
Well, thank you very much for this very complex question with many dimensions. First of all, I'd like to say that in our discussion in Germany, climate justice plays a very important role. And in particular, we're looking at 3 dimensions. First of all, within German society, the rich versus the poor. Then we're looking at intergenerational justice. And of course, we're also looking at the international component of that. And I think in all this, local governments play an important role. And I think in order to be effective, there is need for a good partnership between the national governments and the local governments, also beyond borders. I think in particular, 2 aspects are really important. The first one is resources. I think local governments need the resources to fulfill the tasks set to them by the central governments. And I think probably even more important is knowledge and information. I think this plays a role both nationally in Germany as well internationally. I think in Germany we try to address this information issue with, for example, training programs for climate adaptation managers in local governments. We have identified a so-called climate adaptation center, which is always at the disposal of local governments to provide them with the knowledge they need. Internationally, of course, Germany is contributing in a number of ways. I will not talk very much about our contributions to multilateral funds, but I think there are 2 initiatives which I deserve mentioning, which are particularly designed to promote climate justice. One thing is the JETPs, or the Just Energy Transition Partnerships. Germany has entered into such partnerships with a number of countries, including South Africa, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Senegal. And these partnerships are not only helping those countries to fulfill their climate goals, they also put a special emphasis on social justice. For example, just an example, in South Africa, one of the integral parts of this partnership is training for people who lose their jobs because of reduction in climate-intensive industries. Another instrument I would mention is IKI. This is the International Climate Initiative of the German government, and this initiative especially cooperates with local governments in 150 partner countries. Since 2008, we have realized about 1,000 projects with a volume of 7.5 billion euro. And so I think these are just two examples through which Germany tries to also promote the concept of climate justice internationally. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Ambassador. I was going to ask about the International Climate Initiative, so I'm glad you mentioned it. Thank you both for this really quick fireside chat, really rich and thoughtful insights, and I'm sure the audience has learned quite a bit about what's happening at Germany at the national level, as well as Membawa and West Kalimantan at the subnational level on this piece. So thank you so much for this chat. We will now have a series of presentations. We will start with a presentation from West Kalimantan, followed by presentations from Quebec, as well as Rio Grande do Sul. So can I ask our presenters to join us on stage? We have Mr. Adi Yani joining us from West Kalimantan. We have Damien Pereira joining us from Quebec. And we also have Diogo Heck joining us from Rio Grande do Sul. If you all sit on stage and then do your presentations on that podium, that would be great. They would sit here. And then, Mr. Yani, you can go to the podium to present. You can present standing, yeah. Mm-hmm. Presentation.
Yeah. Annyeonghaseyo yang
Good afternoon.
Yang kami hormati Miss Nihmat Kaur dari Under 2 Coalition,
The Excellency, the representative of Chungnam Province, and also for Nihmat Kaur as from the Under 2 Coalition.
Saya berdiri sini mewakili Gubernur Kalimantan Barat, Bapak Rian Nursan, yang tidak bisa hadir bersama kita pada sore hari ini.
I'm here as the representative of the Governor of West Kalimantan Province, Bapak Mr. Rian Nursan, that cannot join this meeting today.
Dan pada sore hari ini kami akan memaparkan program yang telah kami lakukan dengan judul From Small Action from Scale Impact, Nurturing Green Environmental Leadership of Youth Generation Toward Indonesia Vision 2045.
This afternoon we will present the program that we have developed with Under 2 Coalition with the title From Small Action for Scale Impact, Nurturing Green Environment Leadership of Youth Generation Toward Indonesia Vision 2045.
Adapun online dari paparan yang akan disampaikan, pertama tentang gambaran singkat Kalimantan Barat dan outlook ekonomi, kondisi hutan dan emisi gas rumah kaca Kalimantan Barat, komitmen Kalbar dan kinerja penurunan emisi gas rumah kaca, dukungan Under 2 di Kalimantan Barat, kemudian ringkasan program From Small Action for Scale Impact, Nurturing Green Environmental Leadership of Youth Generation Toward Indonesia Vision 2045.
This is the outline of our presentation, West Kalimantan Brief Overview and Economic Outlook, Forest Conditions and GHG Emission in West Kalimantan's commitment and performance in reducing GHG emission under 2 coalition support in West Kalimantan, and the final is Program Summary, From Small Action for Scale Impact, Nurturing Green Environment Leadership of Youth Generation Toward Indonesia Vision 2045.
Gambaran singkat Kalimantan Barat dan outlook ekonomi, di mana Gubernur dan Wakil Gubernur Kalimantan Barat mempunyai visi, salah satunya visi ke-6 adalah meningkatkan kualitas lingkungan hidup dan sumber daya alam, yang mana areal kerja di Kalimantan Barat ada 14 juta hektar dengan populasi 5.760.000 penduduk dengan data dari tahun 2024, dan wilayah otonominya ada 12 kabupaten dan 2 kota pertumbuhan ekonomi.
The brief West Kalimantan overview, we have the vision and mission, especially for the 6th mission in our government, to improve the quality of environment and natural resources. We have total area about 147,000 kilometers, or this is the 3rd largest province in Indonesia, with population 5.76 million in 2024, and also we have 12 districts and 2 cities.
Dengan pertumbuhan ekonominya di tahun 2021 4,8 dan di tahun 2025 4,7 sampai 5,2.
And the economic growth in 2021 4.8, in 2025 around 4.7.
Adapun 5 besar sektor penyumbang dari PDRB di Kalimantan Barat adalah 23,8% dari pertanian, kehutanan, dan perikanan, 15,6% industri pengolahan, 14,4% perdagangan reparasi kendaraan, 5,1% pertambangan dan galian, 43,2% lain-lainnya, dan status dan fungsi lahan di tahun 2020 sampai 2024 adalah 11,2% ada area konservasi, 15,7% hutan lindung, 30,2% hutan produksi, dan 43% areal penggunaan lain.
For top 5 GDRP distribution at current price, agriculture and forestry and fisheries is still in number 1 with the number 23.8%. Processing industry, trading and vehicle reparation, mining and excavation, and others. For the land status and function, there is 11.2% conservation areas, 15.7% protected forest, 30.2% production forest, and for non-forest is 43%.
Adapun kontribusi emisi gas rumah kaca dari 2012 sampai 2030 secara kumulatif di Kalimantan Barat adalah 7,6% kehutanan dan lahan gambut, 14,2% energi, serta 8,1% ada pertanian.
Emission contributor from 2011 until 2030 cumulative is forestry and peatland for 77.6%, and energy in 14.2%, and agriculture for 8.1%.
Adapun kondisi hutan dan emisi gas rumah kaca di Kalimantan Barat, kondisi saat ini luas hutan di Kalbar ada 5,5 juta hektar.
Next, Pak.
Next.
Before.
Yes. Adapun kondisi hutan dan emisi gas rumah kaca di Kalimantan Barat, kondisi saat ini luas hutan 5,5 juta hektar dan dikenal secara global sebagai Heart of Borneo dan memiliki keanekaragaman hayati yang sangat signifikan, kaya akan spesies seperti orang hutan, enggang, bekantan, terenggiling, dan lain sebagainya. Adapun stok karbon di Kalimantan Barat 6,43% dari stok karbon hutan tropis di Indonesia. Unit hidrologi gambut 2,79 juta hektar dan hutan mangrove ada 162.000 hektar.
Talking about forest and emission, the current condition is forest cover is about 5.5 million hectares. And we also known as a HOB, the heart of Borneo, that has significant biodiversity values such as orangutan, hornbill, proboscis monkey, and etc. Contain about 6.437 of the tropical forest in Indonesia, and also we have pit hydrological unit for 2.79 million hectares, and mangrove forest is about 126,000 hectares.
Dan adapun tantangan yang kami hadapi adalah kehilangan hutan seluas 7,5 juta hektar, kemudian deforestasi, kemudian degradasi, serta terjadinya perubahan iklim pada musim yang ekstrim dan tidak menentu, serta adanya area hutan terdegradasi mencapai 969.000 hektar.
Our challenge is about forest loss, deforestation, degradation, extreme and erratic climate season, and also the degraded forest areas about 969,000 hektar.
Adapun penyebabnya adalah pengolahan hutan yang tidak berkelanjutan, ekspansi perkebunan dan pertanian, serta pembangunan infrastruktur, serta lainnya.
The drivers are unsustainable forest management, plantation and agricultural expansion, and infrastructure and others development.
Adapun hambatannya karena tata kelola yang belum memadai, kemudian pendapatan dari sektor kehutanan menurun, serta rata-rata alokasi dana untuk pengelolaan 6,5 juta hektar atau 0,4 per hektar dari dolar US untuk 17 kesatuan pengelolaan hutan selama periode 2018 sampai 2024.
The barriers are insufficient REDD plus governance, forestry income that decreased 2.05% in 2019 until 2024, and USD 0.4 USD per hectare to manage 6.5 million hectare in average allocated for 17 FMU.
Dan tentunya diperlukan pembiayaan sebesar 25 triliun rupiah sampai dengan tahun 2030.
And we need the funding is about 25 trillion until 2030.
Tentu pesan kuncinya di sini adalah Kalbar masih membutuhkan dukungan untuk mendorong perubahan paradigma menuju pembangunan berkelanjutan dari berbagai pihak.
So the key point is we need more funding from other stakeholder or funding mechanism that can help us in achieve the target of our emission reduction.
Adapun komitmen dan capaian hingga hari ini untuk pengurangan emisi gas rumah kaca, yaitu pengurangan emisi sebesar 60% dari deforestasi dan degradasi hutan, sampai pada dari 2020 dan dipertahankan hingga tahun 2030. Adapun strategi utamanya adalah penguatan strategi yurisdiksi dan reformasi regulasi sektoral, kemudian kolaborasi dan plafon multi pihak, serta penegakan hukum dan akses serta dukungan pendanaan.
The commitment and progress so far for West Kalimantan, 60% emission reduction from deforestation and forest degradation until by 2020 and maintain until 2030. And the key strategies is strengthen jurisdictional strategies and sectoral regulative reform, multi-stakeholder cooperation and platform, law enforcement and funding access and support.
Adapun kinerja penurunan emisi Kalbar kita lakukan selama 8 periode, dan kata kuncinya bahwa dari 8 periode ini keberhasilan penurunan emisi di Kalbar telah tercapai 6 periode, dan tentu kami berkeinginan mencapai janji kami untuk menurunkan emisi 60% dalam 2 periode berikutnya.
And emission reduction performance in West Kalimantan, now we have calculated until the for 8th period, and the key message is West Kali successfully reduced the emission against BAU for 6th period, and also we continue to keep our commitment to achieve the target in 2030 about 60%.
Dan tentu salah satu dukungan yang untuk menurunkan emisi yang kami lakukan yaitu berasal dari Under 2 di Kalimantan Barat, selain dari dukungan kita semua, dari Kementerian Lingkungan Hidup, Kementerian Kehutanan, dari BPDLH, serta dari Bentang Kalimantan Barat, serta beberapa teman-teman NGO lainnya.
And also, we hope that we can get continuous support from Under 2 Coalition and also from the Ministry of Environment of Indonesia, Ministry of Forestry of Indonesia, and also the BPDLH, what we said BPDLH, Environmental Funding Board in central government, and also for the NGOs, especially from Bentang, Kalimantan, Tangguh.
Adapun dukungan dari Under 2 ada 2 tahun kita lakukan di tahun 2021 dan 2024. Di tahun 2021 dengan pendanaan $25.000 US untuk program developing the RADD and MRV system in West Kalimantan Province, serta di tahun 2024 sebesar $25.000 US untuk program From Small Action for Scale Impact Nurturing Green Environment Leadership of Youth Generation Toward Indonesia Vision 2045.
We got support from the Under 2 Coalition in West Kalimantan, especially for our program. There are 2 support. In 2021, we got support to developing the RED Plus MRV system in West Kalimantan Province. And in 2024, we also got support from a program entitled From Small Action for Scale Impact, Nurturing Green Environment Leadership of Youth Generation Toward Indonesia Vision 2045.
Adapun ringkasan program di tahun 2024 yang lalu melalui pendekatan generasi muda yang berada dari beberapa sekolah selevel SMA.
The program summary, the title is, I have before, the source is from Under 2 Coalition, the period from June until December 2024. And the support is for the Adiwiyata School or Green School in West Kalimantan.
Adapun kegiatan keberhasilan dari yang kami lakukan adalah peningkatan implementasi prinsip-prinsip sekolah Adiwiyata di sekolah, lebih peningkatan dukungan sekolah yang penerapannya prinsip di sekolah Adiwiyata seperti demplot pembibitan dan kebun bibit sekolah.
Yeah, the activity is to promote regional policies in West Kalimantan and increase the implementation of Green School Initiative with the awards and also for energy conservation and also school farming, ya, for school farming.
Oke. Dan ini adalah foto-foto yang telah kami lakukan di tahun 2025. Pertama tentu pemberian penghargaan di sekolah Adiwiyata.
Yeah, this is the documentation of our activity with Under 2. This is the award for Adiwiyata School.
Kemudian dukungan instalasi pengelola air limbah atau penyaringan air bersih, serta dukungan kebun bibit sekolah dan dukungan instalasi solar panel untuk listrik desa.
Yeah, this is the documentation, wastewater treatment plant for the school, and also the nursery for school and solar panel installation for the school.
Kemudian ada publikasi dan pameran produk Adiwiyata, serta kegiatan pendampingan sekolah Adiwiyata oleh penyuluh kehutanan di SMA Negeri 2 Bengkayang.
Yeah. This is also the publication and exhibition of Adiwiyata products and mentoring activities for Adiwiyata School by forestry extension workers at Senior High School in Bengkayang.
Kemudian adapun ini didukung oleh kebijakan Gubernur Kalimantan Barat dengan SK Gubernur tentang aksi kita untuk percepatan dan akselerasi pencapaian sekolah adiwiyata di Provinsi Kalimantan Barat.
Yeah, this is the policy support. We have governor's decree regarding this. We name it Aksi Kita for the acceleration and achievement of Adiwiyata School in West Kalimantan Province.
Oke, terima kasih. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yani, for highlighting why supporting subnational governments is essential to climate justice. And it's really interesting to see the Green School program. Now we turn to kind of demonstrating Future Fund in action a little bit more. Two snapshots, one from Quebec, the government that has been contributing to the Future Fund for many, many years, and then we will see from Rio Grande do Sul. So I invite Damien Pereira, Quebec delegation to Korea, the delegate, to share his reflections.
Thank you. Bonjour, 여러분, 안녕하세요. So it's a real pleasure for me to be here with you today, and thank you for your kind invitation and for hosting this important session. Quebec international engagement demonstrates how subnational government can play a leading role in protecting biodiversity and addressing climate change. Why subnational government should get involved? Because we may have greater ambition and more advanced vision of what the future should be. So it's the case for Quebec, and I'd like also to congratulate Chungcheongnam-do province, who has a lot of challenges with 50% of coal-fire power plants. So it's great to see the leadership of this kind of provinces. So I will highlight Quebec experience with the Future Fund and its impact, but let me begin with few facts about Quebec. So Quebec is the largest province of Canada, located on the eastern side of Canada. For the Korean audience, if you've seen the Korean drama Dokgebi, you will probably remember where it is. And of course, we have the lowest per capita greenhouse gas emission from all across Canada and the US states. In line with the Paris Agreement, Quebec has committed to reduce GHG emission by 37.5% by 2030, and a path to the carbon neutrality by 2050. Our electricity supplies, we are blessed because our electricity supplies come from renewable energy up to 99.8%, mainly hydropower up to 95%. And moreover, Quebec is the first producer of hydroelectricity in Canada and the fourth largest in the world. In our 2030 energy policy, we have set target to increase this renewable energy production by 25% and bioenergy production by 50% by 2030. Quebec is also home to the largest number of electric vehicles in Canada. That's about 45% and of the national fleet. And we want to reach a 1.5 million electric vehicle by 2030 and prohibit sales of new gasoline power motors by 2035. This we are doing in cooperation also with Korea, with a large corporation from Korea like POSCO, EcoPro, Mirae, and Solus, who set up large factory in Quebec to produce the greenest battery in North America. But the changing point was in 2013. 2013, Quebec established a cap and trade system for GHG emission allowance. The following year, we link this cap and trade system with California. And we created the largest carbon market in North America, and the first to be designed by and operated by subnational government. The last carbon market auction just concluded a couple of weeks ago. It was the 20th of August. It generated $286 million for Quebec to be reinvested in climate change solutions. Over the years, it's been 10 billions that we have accumulated with this fund to support action of Quebec locally and internationally. In 2022, also, Quebec became the first jurisdiction to pass a law banning hydrocarbon exploration and production within its territory. So saying that, I'd like to now focus on the fund initiative. So we strongly support this idea of the Future Fund from the beginning, during the Under 2 Coalition General Assembly in 2015. At the time, the coalition was expanding to subnational governments worldwide, but financial support was needed from members from developing regions to participate. The Future Fund was created to support their action and ensure their presence at global climate events like the COP or the Climate Week, and Quebec was one of the first governments to contribute financially. Contributing to a just transition is believing in supporting developing countries and regions in the world in their transition to a low-carbon economy and helping them building resilience through adaptation. Over the past decade, Quebec has contributed to numerous international cooperation initiatives, and the Future Fund is a key example with a focus on subnational government. The way the fund is set up, it has 3 lines of action that is quite interesting and inspiring to achieve many goals. So the first is support concrete projects in developing regions, so climate action plans, carbon pricing, renewable energy, project awareness programs, and many more. And all these programs are replicable by other governments and extended to other sectors and can leverage other international funds. The second point, it's what we call second months. So it's expert exchange. So that's helping to strengthen collaboration and share expertise. So for example, Quebec hosted a second month from Cross River State in Nigeria, 2019, and on sustainability forest, and an exchange with colleagues from Minas Gerais in Brazil on carbon market. And the third one is the support for delegation to attend the international event, as I was mentioning, so which we believe it's key to stay connected with climate trends, but also to share challenges, to draw inspiration, learn from the best practices, and build lasting collaboration. This ensures the development of region and keep pace with the global transition. So the Future Fund is unique, and it has had mobilizing effect on subnational government in developing region. It has also helped shape the Under2 coalition into a truly international network, now addressing a full range of climate challenges faced by subnational government worldwide. So I would be more than happy to discuss later about other Quebec initiatives, but thank you very much. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Damien. I now invite Diogo to give his presentation.
Okay. Good afternoon. First of all, I need to thank you for Cheongnam Province and Under2 Coalition for the invitation to be here today, presenting a project we developed under the funding of Future Fund in our state of Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil. We have a presentation we can provide. So it will make things better here for me. If you can share it, please.
It's coming.
Okay. Just because there is a lot of visual contact I need to use to support the presentation. Well, my name is Diogo Heck, so I am a technical advisor in the Secretary of Environment and Infrastructure of the state of Rio Grande do Sul. So I'm very proud to be here representing our local secretary, Marjorie Kaufman, which was originally invited to be here. And what we made with this funding of the Future Fund was to develop a project we call it the Climate Roadmap in our territory, based on the principle to structure multi-level governance. Rio Grande do Sul is a state, it's a large state, has more than 280,000 square kilometers, and is composed by 497 municipalities. So to act locally, as we always are speaking about, we need to know how these municipalities are structured, prepared, and what are they developing in the local level, and what kind of support they need, and all those questions need to be answered. So we developed the roadmap, the climate roadmap, based in 8, we don't have the presentation? No, excuse me. Well, so I'm gonna speak without the support on the, I have to take it here, just a moment. We developed the project based, we had 8 frameworks to support the questionnaire we sent to the municipalities, which are administrative, multi-level governance, greenhouse gases inventory, risk and vulnerability analysis, climate action plans, education for sustainability, normative acts, and programs and projects they are developing locally. So we send them a questionnaire with more than 60 questions. They have responded to us, and we process the information that we receive from the municipalities in a dashboard. We and analyzed all this data we received from them. So we had a large picture of how municipalities are working to improve climate actions locally. And we create a huge support to plan our actions as a state and to improve the locally actions, looking for the reality municipalities are facing. Until now, we have 441 municipalities which have responded to our questionnaire, which have bring us a picture of the local action they are improving. Most of these municipalities, almost 80%, are small cities, small municipalities with less than 20,000 inhabitants. And we identified that 98% of municipalities had faced climate emergencies in the last 5 years. But only 28% of these municipalities have a budget to address climate emergency. So we have identified they have low knowledge and low training on the topic, and few initiatives, only a few initiatives to risk and vulnerability analysis and climate plans. No more than 5 municipalities have this kind of projects developed until now. So it's there we need to focus. Some of the most positive points of the initiatives is the high engagement by municipalities and the interest in developing programs and projects locally, and the fact that 70% of municipalities carry out climate actions regardless of the existence of a specific action plans locally. So they are acting, but they don't necessarily are relating the projects they are developing with climate action. Through the roadmap, it was possible to identify when they respond our questionnaire, in which way they are working locally. And another relevant information we have collected is since 2023 until 2024, we passed from 244 municipalities who had faced climate emergencies in 2024 to 398 municipalities that have faced this kind of emergencies in 2024. It shows clearly that the problem is always raising in our territory. So I excuse me again, but I would have projected the presentation. So there is a QR code in which you can access the platform, look for all the answers we have, all the questions and the analysis we have made about the data we collected with municipalities. But if you need, you can put on the Google roadmap climático Rio Grande do Sul, and you will find it. By the way, I think so. is that, Nemat, thank you for the opportunity again. Thank you all for the attention you paid on.
Thank you, Diogo. And we'll make sure that the presentation and the app become available after the conference. Thank you. And now I would like to expand this out to make it a full panel. So I would like to invite some colleagues to join us on stage. We have Ana Pescador joining us from Catalonia to offer some more reflections. We have Mong-hee Son from ICLE Korea joining us on stage. And we also have Yin from Solutions for Our Climate so that we can broaden the conversation out a little bit. We also have a delegate joining us from Indonesia, from IESR, Chitra, who's joining us via Zoom online. So can we have Chitra up on screen, please? One more chair is coming. Great. I'm going to start with our questions while the setup is being done a little bit. My first question is for Damien from Quebec and Anna from Catalonia. Quebec and Catalonia have long histories of climate leadership. My question to you both is, how can subnational governments in advanced and industrialized economies like yours support climate justice globally, particularly through partnerships with regions facing climate vulnerability? Damien, should we start with you, and then we'll go to Anna?
Okay, thank you very much. So yes, of course, the Quebec is strongly engaged in supporting developing countries in their region and in their climate and energy transition, particularly in helping them towards their resilience towards climate change impact. So this is financed through the revenue that I just mentioned before, the Quebec Cap and Trade system linked with California since 2013. So all revenue are reinvested in climate measures within Quebec and abroad. So beside the Future Fund contribution that I spoke earlier, Quebec has implemented since 2016 a number of cooperation measures to contribute to reducing climate vulnerability in developing countries. So I'll give you maybe a few examples to better understand. So the first one is the Quebec Climate Cooperation Program since 2016. So we invested about 50 million Canadian dollars in projects in 17 different vulnerable countries, mostly French-speaking African and Caribbean nations, but it resulted in 65 concrete projects going from resilience agriculture, agroforestry, renewable energy, ecosystem restoration. It's about 160,000 people positively impacted by these programs. And this program has received a United Nations prize in 2019 for its achievements. The second point will be the technical partnership. So with FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization, so strengthening adaptation capacities for food security in Senegal and Haiti, for example. Initiative to support also young entrepreneurs and educators in French-speaking African and the Caribbean, and multilateral contribution will be the third axis. Over $40 million were invested in International Climate Fund, the Adaptation Fund, the Fund for Least Developed Countries, and the African Climate Change Fund. So all these initiatives contributed directly in the implementation of the Paris Agreement, and Quebec insists on recognizing the needs of developing countries, especially the most vulnerable for the climate impacts.
Thank you, Damien. Over to Anna.
So from Catalonia's perspective, we believe that subnational governments in the global north and Europe have a unique responsibility to advance climate justice globally and also locally. I will highlight 4 ways in which Catalonia is trying to do this. First, leading by example. In Catalonia, our climate change office has worked with the help of independent experts to set ambitious emission reduction targets and our own carbon budget for the next years. These kind of tools play an important role in planning our sectors to be aligned with a fair climate transition and establish the governance framework necessary to bring together government, civil society, and also the private sector. We also know that many vulnerable regions do not have the tools and resources to design these structures from scratch. In this sense, sharing our lessons learned, successes, and challenges may help others move faster in building resilient projects. Second, through cooperation and solidarity. Catalonia has a long tradition of decentralized cooperation. Today, we are working to reorient part of that effort towards climate adaptation and resilience, supporting projects in water management, renewable energy, and sustainable agriculture. These are partnerships where local communities take the lead, and our role is to provide resources, technical expertise, and solidarity. Third, by building alliances and networks. Catalonia is an active member of Regions 4 and the Under 2 coalition, which bring together subnational governments from all continents. These networks are essential for connecting the global north and global southern regions. They enable not only technical knowledge exchange, but also joint advocacy, so that the voice of subnational governments is heard in COPs and other vital global forums. And fourth and finally, by working to keep equity and justice at the center. Climate justice is not only about reducing emissions, it is also about addressing social inequalities, protecting rights, and empowering communities. In Catalonia, we are working to integrate citizen participation and social justice into our cooperation work. This ensures that climate action also strengthens human dignity and cohesion. 감사합니다. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna and David. What I heard was leading by example and contributing internationally, sharing lessons so that other people can learn from kind of failures as well as much as successes, and cooperation and partnerships is what I took as the 3 takeaways from your responses. Let's turn now to Diogo and Mongi. My question to both of you is, what are the most effective ways to embed climate justice into local planning and infrastructure development, especially in regions facing socioeconomic disparities? Maybe let's start with Mongi this time and then go to Diogo.
네, 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 저는 이클레 한
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Son Bong-hee from ICLEI Korean office. I know that you are very tired because you have to listen to the receiver. I feel really bad to see you sitting in the back of the hall. So let me speak in Korean because simultaneous interpretation is now being provided. So many policies are promoted by regional governments in Korea in order to achieve climate justice. I think that you might think about many ideas, and for me, the most important one is the support for the most vulnerable. There are some people and there are some classes of people, or there are certain types of jobs that are most affected by climate change. So supporting those vulnerable people and groups is essential. And we have to understand that we cannot fundamentally solve this problem, but we have to be very active and proactive in providing support and mitigating the effects of the support. So we have to make a policy for those vulnerable people, and we have to go beyond designing policies, and we have to think about the fundamental way to solve the disparity among people in Korean society. We need a strategy, very effective strategy. Of course, it sounds a little bit vague, but let me give you an example. When it comes to renewable energy policies, the expansion of renewable energy is promoted by the government, and this policy was promoted in many rural areas in the past in Korea. So some people rent the land to conduct agricultural activities, but they were kicked away. And so many developers, owners of the land, they took the lion's share for the land, and so many people lost their land for agricultural purposes, and that even worsened the gap between the rich and the poor. Another example is that yesterday I met the mayor of Boryeong City, and I asked him about the energy policies promoted by the city. And I heard that Boryeong City is developing wind power plants, and the priority of the city is negotiation and consulting, as well as coexistence with the local communities and residents. So feedback and opinions of the residents were collected, and the city government asked the residents the biggest challenge they face, and the government tried to find a solution for its people. They even visited other countries to learn from their experience. Based on the study and based on the feedback, they are developing wind power plants, and the benefits will go to the residents. So in conclusion, I think that we have to go beyond the reduction of carbon emissions, and we have to solve and reduce the negative impact caused by the disparity between the rich and the poor. We have to provide benefits for the wider range of people, and we have to benefit the entire society, and we might provide support in various forms like food for the elderly people. And we have to find a way for achieving carbon justice and climate justice. Of course, it's not an easy thing to do, and we have a long way to go. But the most important one is that, in my opinion, is coming from the example of Boryeong City. The determination, very strong determination of the city and the capabilities of the city matter most. And active participation of the community and resident is required as well. This is not the end. We have to come up with effective strategies, and we have to come up with solutions and better ways to achieve our goals. So we are now together in this event, taking this opportunity, and I look forward to this type of events going forward. So what I like to say is that the regional government have to do more for the benefits of their people, and they have to pursue the policies for the people of their city and regions. This is my remark. Thank you.
Kind of several lessons that you spoke about, adaptation and local benefits kind of accruing to communities. Diogo, over to you.
Okay, it's working. Well, I think, first of all, we have the mission to put all the people in the same page. Let them know about what's the strategies we are looking at, and how they can work to engage in these strategies. That's why we developed the initiative I presented you before, to understand the reality on local site. Linking this with the subject of this conference, I think the energetic transition in our territory play also a big role to contribute to this topic, because we are developing the distributing generation of energy with solar based, also working on biogas projects for agriculture, and H2V, green hydrogen, which has a great potential, and we started a project with 15 municipalities to develop biogas on waste management. In a project we have collaboration with California and the Methane Coalition of Under 2 to promote the transition based on the opportunities we have in the territory. So I think there is a great chance. I mean, for us as a state to promote equality and bring all the people, independently of the situation they face, they are facing in normally, to the same page, to work together to fight climate change. There's the message.
Thank you, Diogo. So what I'm hearing is kind of constant communication and finding ways to take the community
네, 그래서 지역 공
is being taken by the government. Thank you. Let's go to our next two panelists, Ian, who's joining us from SFOC, and Chitra, joining us from Indonesia, ICER. My question to you both is, in your experience, what role can subnational governments, because I know both your organizations are working a lot with subnationals, respectively in Indonesia as well as in South Korea, what role can subnational governments play in accelerating a just energy transition, particularly in coal-dependent or underserved regions? Perhaps let's start with Chitra, and Ian, I'll give you the last word. Chitra.
Okay, thank you very much, Nemat, and apologize for having to appear online here. So for your questions, there are four roles, at least for the subnational government, for the just transition. The first is that they can be policy innovators because they can use local regulation and roadmaps to pilot rooftop solar programs, green building, even district energy plans that later can inspire national replication and national regulation. The second role is because they are closest to the communities and workers. They're very essential in designing transition pathways that addresses real concern, not just from the view of the national government, because it will then making them more focused on jobs, livelihoods, and local revenues, rather than the whole macro view of the national energy plan. And then the third role is that they can mobilize also investment and partnerships, which can be used to signal seriousness to national government, private sectors, donor, investors alike, to channel funds into green industry, workers training, upskilling, reskilling, and also for community projects. And the last one that we have observed during our works with national government in Indonesia is that they can be a really effective bridge. It means that they can turn a very technical transition plans or a very technocratic documents into a tangible narratives and contextual programs. It could mean solar on schools, training for coal workers affected by the transition, or even doing a village level clean transport program, for example, to improve health and resilience. We have also seen that many of the governors and subnational leaders are very confident in showing success stories in their region, and then it can be replicated in different regions and even at the national level. Thank you.
Thanks, Chitra. You made such an important point about, sort of turning technical policies into relatable narratives. I think that is a very, very important point. And we've seen that happen today at the Chungnam conference as well, with the governor kind of speaking to so many initiatives that have taken place in Chungnam. Thanks for sharing. Ian, over to you.
네, 이미 여러 토론
Many panelists have already talked about the local government's role in promoting carbon neutrality conversion, and I would like to emphasize three of them. First of all, as a public player, we need to set standards. Local government, when it sets the rules, it should determine the KPIs and thresholds and to reflect them on the policies. And secondly, it is important to support economic transitions. For instance, when we close coal-fired power plants, we need to improve the support towards the ones that have lost their jobs. We need to think from the workers' perspective. And thirdly, we can lead the market through public procurement, especially in the field of renewable energy. A market is not catching up with the technological investment, and therefore it is important for us to take the lead in that regard. And in the course of these transitions, it is important for us to enhance our cooperation with the civil sector. We need to think from the workers' perspective, and so that these transitions would be more beneficial towards the society as a whole. And what's more important is that the collaboration with the central government, not only the efforts of the local government is important, but also the collaboration with the central government is essential in promoting the transition. And therefore, not only Chungnam, but also Jeonnam, Jeju, Gyeonggi, through solidarity with other local governments, if we can enhance our voices towards the central government, and if we can speak through one voice, it will help us improve the central government's policies. And also, for the nation as a whole, in terms of permissions and authorization policies, and in terms of policy and system improvement, the solidarity between local government is imperative. And lastly, 2030 NDC and COP30 meeting will be held this year. And these multilateral processes, previously, in terms of these multilateral processes, those processes were between nation states, but from now on, collaboration with regional governments should be enhanced, and such exchanges and meetings should be standardized and should be made into something very regular. Thank you very much.
And I feel like asking you, all of you, many, many more questions. But we are running about 5-6 minutes late, so I might take the liberty of closing the session here and just reflecting on some of the lessons that we've heard here today. First, climate justice starts locally. Communities are where impacts are felt, but also where solutions are born. So I think that is a very important lesson that we're taking away today. Second, subnational leadership is essential, not an afterthought, but a driver of ambition and delivery. And as Chitra said, also of the right narratives and how climate action is actually benefiting communities rather than sort of safeguarding them from extreme impacts of climate change. Third, solidarity, collaboration, partnerships are the name of the game. Through partnerships like the Future Fund, we've seen what's possible. And through peer learning and multi-level engagement, we can ensure that no community is left behind. So now our task is to take these lessons forward into more strategies coming in the coming years. Thank you once again to all of you and all our distinguished speakers who joined us. And thank you for your commitment to building a climate future that's not only green, but also just. Thanks, everyone. We'll close this session now. Thank you.